Thank you for coming back to another Hamza Khan show, Hamza Khan video. Apologize for the voice. I am feeling a bit ill, so if I sound a bit croaky, that's the reason why. So I do apologize for that. But what a week of wrestling. If you go back to the last video I uploaded, I kind of got what I asked for in terms of the Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre feud. It became real. I kind of asked for it to be. I was enjoying the feud so far, but there wasn't anything, some sort of memorable, like something like, oh my god, I remember when this happened. When you take a feud that is just a standard feud to a actual memorable one, a bit like on the level of the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens feud from last year. It felt real, especially with it starting off in a brawl in the at the back of the stadium and then carrying on further from there and building all the way up to the ladder match, which was really intense and really crazy. Uh, that's memorable, and at this point, you hadn't had anything memorable from Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre in terms of above the standard. And I expect with those two superstars, especially with where they started from and where they are, there could be so much more on there, and they delivered on Friday. Drew McIntyre has to go, if I'm being honest. I am fully supporting Cody Rhodes because what Drew McIntyre did is terrible. He he insulted the ref. He made the ref look like a little bee, and the ref couldn't do anything to kind of stop that or kind of protect himself. So obviously Cody Rhodes had to come out, but because of the stipulation and how Drew McIntyre has manipulated everything, Cody can't touch Drew McIntyre with the ruling of if you touch him, Cody loses the championship. I think we're gonna see that a little bit more this Friday as well, where Drew McIntyre is pushing the buttons and trying to get Cody Rhodes to snap and lose the championship. I don't know how it will work if he loses the championship and then you still go to Germany for the match, or if he doesn't have the match anymore and it just gets given to Drew McIntyre. I would assume it's not gonna happen. He's not gonna lose the actual championship before then, especially with the stipulation being set out of 3 stages held. I told you so. I kind of wanted it to be that, and they delivered again for that. And then how he manipulated the full situation, Drew McIntyre, it's very heelish. It's very. I did not like it at all. It made me feel uncomfortable. So I'm not even in the ring. I'm at home, and as a viewer, it made me feel uncomfortable and made me feel a type of way, which has pushed all the support, in my opinion, onto Cody Rhodes, having everybody wanting Cody Rhodes to win. I wouldn't be surprised if Drew McIntyre is booed out of the building when he comes back on this Friday. If he's there on the show on Friday, if he gets booed out of the building, it wouldn't be surprising. Especially what he said after to Cody Rhodes, where he says, "When I've taken you to hell," paraphrasing, "say hi to your dad for me." That was just like, you didn't need to go there. You've done it on purpose. You know that's Cody's soft spot, and it's very manipulative of Cody of Drew McIntyre to Cody Rhodes, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens going into SmackDown, especially with the stipulation that he can't touch Drew McIntyre. Um, it was exactly what I wanted, and it definitely delivered. It was definitely it was the segment of the feud so far. I would definitely say. Um, in terms of what I want the three stages of hell to be, I think you go classic, just no DQ, steel cage, and then a ladder match. I feel like that would be sick for that match. It's a bit similar to the Kevin Owens one if you want to go with the ladder match. So maybe something else instead of the ladder match. Let me know in the comments what you think instead of the ladder match. But I definitely think there should be a steel cage, and it shouldn't start as a normal match. It makes no sense for it to start as a normal match because it's three stages of hell. You wanna kind of work off that those three stages of hell, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they kind of announce it. Is it going to be announced by commentary, or will it be decided by Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes that you choose one, I choose one, and then the last one gets chosen from from whoever wins this, whatever reason. But going into Germany, so not this week, next week, I believe that I'm going to say Cody Rhodes retains because I see it's more visually clear the path for Cody Rhodes going further than what I see with Drew McIntyre. I think when Drew McIntyre wins the world championship again, it's gonna be as a babyface, not as a heel. He's gonna get to a point eventually where he realizes that being a heel isn't getting him what he wants. Making the excuses, making the manipulating people isn't getting him what he wants. What got him to the mountaintop was being that baby face. Of course, it happened during the pandemic when he actually won, but I think he needs to turn face before he actually wins the championship, just so that you get the moment. Because you can't. He's already had that moment where he's in a stadium where he's won the championship. Obviously, Damian Priest cashed in, but he had about 5 minutes there where he was allowed to celebrate, and the fans were happy, but they would be so much more happier if it is the case where Cody Drew McIntyre is a babyface, I think. And in terms of where the storylines goes going further, I could very I would love to see him going against Nick Aldis. How he's manipulated the referees. He's manipulated Nick Aldis as much as he's manipulated Cody Rhodes and pushed him to a point. He's also done the same to Nick Aldis, where when we were first introduced to Nick Aldis, he had so much aura and he kind of so much kind of entity to him, but he's kind of lost that over time, and especially with this Drew McIntyre match. And it could be very interesting to see if we can build to a Nick Aldis versus Drew McIntyre match, which pushes, with Drew McIntyre is as arrogant as ever, similar to how Gunther and Pat McAfee kind of happened, where after the loss to Jey Uso, Gunther crashed out on the commentary team and he went against um, Pat McAfee. He could have like a similar situation where he goes against Drew McIntyre. Will they call this versus Drew McIntyre? But instead of Drew McIntyre actually winning, Nick Aldis gets the win over him, and that humbles Drew McIntyre. That way, the way he's done everything isn't how he should be operating. It brings the aura back to Nick Aldis, and it makes it so that if he loses, you can't necessarily put him back as a GM because he's gonna get disrespected by all the kind of other superstars. But if he wins, even if it's a kind of chicanery win, like he gets a roll up, he gets a kind of just about wins. But if he's able to push Drew McIntyre to the limit, you can build that respect between Drew McIntyre and Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis keeps his kind of he cements his kind of aura, and he goes on further from there, where he could go back to a GM, or maybe even stay as a active superstar where he's going back and forth. But that can kind of be a sticky situation where if you go down a certain storyline, it can kind of ruin a lot of things. But that's what I would kind of I'm interested to see. With Cody, you can go anywhere with it. You can go Cody versus Gunther. If Gunther wins the Royal Rumble, you've got Roman Reigns, you've got CM Punk, you've got Seth Rollins if he comes back. If he wants to go against Cody, you can very easily blame him for the injury. Um, so many people that you can put Cody Rhodes with. I would love to see a smaller feud with Cody Rhodes, maybe against Ilya Dragunov. Now that Ilya has lost his United States Championship to Kamala Hayes, which was an amazing match and definitely kind of cemented the Kamala Hayes' moment of actually winning the United States Championship. I feel like he should hold it for a little while. He doesn't necessarily need to hold it forever, but just for a little while, maybe he loses it to a heel and he can start to chase against that heel. I think that is going to be the end of the United States Open Challenge, which is unfortunate because it's been really amazing. But I definitely think Cody Rhodes versus Ilya Dragunov could be a very interesting smaller feud, especially when you're kind of. It gives the audience time to kind of understand who Ilya Dragunov is a little bit more, and it puts him with the top babyface in Cody Rhodes. That's what I would like to see what's going on SmackDown and in terms of the Drew McIntyre Cody Rhodes. The other major thing that happened was um, the CM Punk and Braun Breaker kind of face off, which was I feel like the entrance for the Vision when they opened up the show, that was amazing. That was really really intense. You showed all the kind of the the people in the group, but also it didn't look like any of them was like the little brother or the secondary person in the group. Austin Theory felt perfect. Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman in the back as well. It just meshed really well, especially when they walked on and how visually they looked all together. It didn't, even though the push is on currently Braun Breaker, you didn't feel that, in my opinion. I haven't felt that yet, where it's been overly pushed on Braun Breaker and everybody else is taking a step back. I think it kind of switches because you had the time when Bronson Reed was kind of being pushed a lot and Braun Breaker was just a muscle in the back, and then now the roles are switched where Braun Breaker is going against CM Punk and he's gonna face him for the World Heavyweight Championship. Who's gonna win that match and how I would like it to go? I'm very unsure. I thought the face off Brum Breaker's retort to CM Punk was strong. It, you understood who he was and you understood what his level of expectation for himself is. And then you've got obviously CM Punk making that claim that he's not ready to lose it. And if you're looking at his matches and how he's been performing, you can kind of say, does he really need to lose the championship? Could he hold it for another half a year or a year or so? But you've also got that kind of situation in your mind. CM Punk doesn't really necessarily need the World Heavyweight Championship. He's had his time. So would it be interesting to see Braun Breaker with his World Heavyweight Championship holding on to it? I would love to see it. If it is going to be Braun Breaker that wins, I feel like after that, we should see Braun Breaker face multiple opponents. It shouldn't be the same people over and over again. Like, it can't be CM Punk again. It can't be the same people again. Try and split it up so that every couple of weeks you're having a World Heavyweight Championship match where Braun Breaker could lose, but he retains, and that builds him up where people see him more as the champion rather than someone that's been given and it's been forced. You don't want to do that, and it never looks good when anything is kind of forced in that kind of way. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens in terms of it's going to be this Monday where we see the match in that big Raw. Um, Other thing that happened was the Usos are now the World Tag Team Champions. I think it's the World ones or the WWE ones, but they're the Tag Team Champions. Very interesting year for um, Jey Uso. It was especially with how he rised with the Royal Rumble. He won the World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther. Then he lost it, and he's kind of been in his head. And then now he's got the the tag team championships back. I I would like a. I don't think it should be a long run with the tag team championships. It could be the case where you build it up where they lose it right before Mania, and then the Usos are trying to somehow get onto the WrestleMania card, but one of them doesn't, and that can kind of push the kind of relationship to a bit more of a strain because it's constantly going up and down, and the excuse that we've always been given is the brothers they fight. So even if it looks intense to us, it's not necessarily that bad. But I feel like there needs to be a point where that stops. Jimmy is given the opportunity, and maybe that's where you see Jey Uso crash out even more. That could be very interesting to see what happens with them winning the tag team. The match itself was amazing. I I wasn't ready for AJ Styles to and Dragon Lee to lose it yet. I really wanted them to hold it bit longer. But it is what it is. You've got obviously AJ Styles. You're teasing that Gunther kind of match. I don't think it's going to be a retirement match with Gunther. I feel like it will be a match, but AJ Styles will retire differently. If you're gonna have, if the rumors are true, where it's gonna be not Bronze, Brock Lesnar retiring at SummerSlam, I would rather have it where, because you don't want to do it. I feel like doing it too many times kind of loses the source of the the championship. So I definitely think that they should pick and choose who, if they are going to make him retire someone, pick and choose who it should be retiring. Can it be more significant for someone else to retire AJ Styles? Maybe a good guy instead, or you could have the moment after the match where they hug, the baton is passed on to whoever beats AJ Styles, and you can move on from there. That could be very interesting to see. Um, Try to think what else happened. Watch NXT. Ethan Page is the GOAT. He's knocked off Moose. He's the Triple R Tag Team Champion. Man's cooking. Man's good. This more respect needs to be put on Ethan Page's name, in my opinion. He's running NXT. He's building feuds. He's in segments. He's doing more than other people, and more respect needs to be put on his name, in my opinion, because he is cooking. He is cooking. Um, I think that's going to be the end of the video. To apologize for the croaky voice. I have actually got new subscribers, so thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. It made my day when I looked and I saw that I had a new subscriber. I'm not sure how to check who subscribed. If I do figure it out, I will shout you out. But thank you so much. Leave a like if it was good, leave a dislike if it was bad, and maybe leave a comment. Peace.